everybody, my name is Angie Murenga. You're watching Just Angie. This is the Ustawi segment where we talk about all things purpose, leadership, governance, our journeys. We share stories and we inspire each other. And today I have a guest all the way from Arusha. I'm so grateful. Big heads up and big up, clap and celebration for coming all the way from Arusha to do this. I'm really, really grateful. And I'm going to let her introduce herself and then we'll have a conversation about all things purpose, leadership and your journey. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much, Apostle Angie,
Thank you.
For having me. It's such an honor and a delight to be here in
Thank
this
you.
space.
Thank you.
I think for the past 1 year, Just Angie has been my go-to place.
Oh, thank you.
To be inspired,
Amazing.
listening to your stories, listening to other people from Ecclesia, all the guests that you have. I wake up, I put my Just Angie, then I feel
thank you
great,
so
I feel
much.
inspired.
Amen.
My name is Carolyn Kandusi. I'm from Arusha, Tanzania. I'm a social development expert. I have over 10 years experience working with communities, but also I'm a government advisor.
Okay.
Yeah, currently sitting at a national advisory committee, advising the President of Tanzania
Wow.
on ways that the government can do to bring economic justice and rights,
Wow.
especially for women and young women and children and everybody.
Yeah. I love your passion. That's the first thing that drew me to you the first time I met you, is your passion for society, for community, for justice, for economic growth. It's very contagious and it just lights up the room. So thank you for that. And I think what I wanted to know from you is why did you get into this field of work, your purpose? Why are you so passionate about other people and what happens to them?
It's a funny story. I remember I had gotten a job with a government parastatal. And at that time, getting a job with a government parastatal, that means like you have a permanent employment.
So it was a good thing.
So it was a good thing. But 1 year later into that job, I was not settling in. Something was not kicking. Like nowadays you say, it did not kick. It did not feel right. I remember one night I saw a job of a very small NGO. And then I applied. And then I went ahead. I did interviews. That was in Arusha. I have a background in mass communication.
Okay.
And that job was for a person for communication and research. So it felt right. Then I got interviewed. But when I was doing the interview in the process, before you enter into the room, there's a bit of an orientation. Like, this is the office, this is where you're going to work. And today we have 2 interviews. One is for the communications and research person. And the other one is for a gender manager. And I was like, those things. Gender. So by then I didn't have any connection. I'm from a family of 3 girls. Our father was blessed. We had a fairly okay life. All of us went to school. So at home and in my community growing up in towns, I could not really tell what gender discrimination and oppression means. Then I do my interview. I wait for the results. The results come out and they say, no, you did not get the comms and research person's job. But we really like you and would like you to become a gender manager. I was like, wow. I was like, okay, can I do also comms? They said, it's fine. So now it's gender and communications manager. I was like, okay, that's fine. What is the salary? The salary looked really good. 4 times the government work. I was like, okay, let me at least go for the money, because deep down the gender thing was not adding up.
Yeah, wasn't making sense.
Yeah, then I reported to work. And on my very first day of now going to the field, this is where I went to indigenous communities, hunter-gatherers, and pastoralists. I went to communities far away in Tanzania. And that's when I learned that by the virtue of being a woman, you don't have access sometimes to basic needs. You don't have a right to go to school. You don't have so much. Like, by the virtue of you giving birth to a girl in some communities, if it's a boy, you're given a cow.
Wow.
If it's a girl, you're told congratulations and maybe a lamb for soup. But when it's a boy, so like that's when I started seeing the injustice. And that's when I also started seeing how much, regardless there were so many injustices, especially in rural communities, no one was there. no one was there. So these women, these communities were struggling on their own.
Wow.
And for me, what I saw there was like, these people are committed. They see a challenge, they do something about it. They won't wait for the government to come. They'll struggle. Though they need the help, but they struggle as individuals.
To provide the solution.
Yes, the solutions.
Yes.
So that's when I was drawn into grassroots works. That's when I started really, really appreciating community-driven development, where people come, you have a challenge, you find a solution, and you do it. You don't just sit and wait. So that is really, really what drew me into that sector, and really, really changed my perspective on what I do. And I think 10 years later, I'm here to stay in different ways, but I'm just a grassroots girl. I'm a community development person. I believe in the power of community being the solution providers to the challenges they're living in. And I'm blessed.
And have you seen communities improve and change? Because I love first that you said they try. So they may not have the ability or the resources, but they try. And then you come and you partner with them now to ensure that what they were trying to do, they do. And I don't think because I'm sure you don't tell them, no, this is not the way, this is the way. They already have a solution. They're just struggling maybe with the finances or maybe some management things just to get it to be really, I almost feel like fine-tuned so the solution can be perfect. So I'm sure you've had successes. And maybe what do some of those look like, and how do they make you feel? Because 10 years is a long time to have been doing something, and the kind of energy, because I only met you like a year ago, but your energy is so, your passion, your compassion, your let's go do this. There's a lot of energy going.
I've seen so much, Apostle Angie. I've seen so much change. Something which I can tell about the development space, as we say, a very simple phrase, like our economies depend on different sectors. Of course, we have the public sector, and these are the government which is really providing social welfare to the people, but it's also complemented by the private sector, the businesses, and like the social sector. But something which has been happening in the social sector, and I'm so happy to see change happen, is that the social sector, in terms of financing it, most of the time how funders or how people invest is they curate a solution, they come to the community and they tell you do this.
No.
They come, they find you, they decide what you need is water, but sometimes what you need maybe is not water for now, you need something else. So it has been like people who are funding people in development space telling people what to do. So I've been championing to change that perspective. Instead of telling people what to do, go appreciate what they're already doing, and then partner with them and ask them, what do they need to do better? And for the past 5 years, I've been working with a foundation, American Foundation, Sigo Family Foundation, which actually is championing that agenda. That we partner with you and we listen to what you want to do, we listen to you, and we invest in your vision. And that has really, really brought tremendous change, even when the resources are very low. Because the little resources which are going, they're really going to a place where the community feels that there's a need. But not where you feel like there's a need. The person with the resources feel that there's a need. So I've seen so much change.
And I've just thought about the women because of the gender. How does change come to them? What kind of change have you seen coming to these women? I even hear the word incremental. So incremental change to these women. How are their lives changing? Because I'm thinking if we have a mindset or a culture that this is how we do things and this is how we treat our women, how do we begin to change that mindset so that things are different for these women, or are they?
So it's a journey. It has been like a long journey. I think so many seeds have been planted in the space of bringing equality and equity, not only for women, but all other disadvantaged groups. I would say it's becoming much more positive. Like there's much more access to information, and you see from what we had in the days as affirmative action into having more sustainable programs which are supporting young people, which are supporting women, especially economically, in different ways. And something about women and gender and developing it, how change happens. Usually it has 5 stages. There's one particular theory by Sarah Longwe. It says, first, if you're going to empower someone, stage 1 is dealing with the basics, basic rights. And then stage 2, once they have their basic rights, there's like, you know, a sense of urgency and comfortability. And stage 3, it's where they come sort of like, you know, participate now in deeper conversation. When I'm not hungry, then I can sit and start thinking, what can I do for my village?
Bring what's in my mind
What's
out.
on my mind. And the mind sort of like, you know, really, really works. Stage 4, that's where you find like these experiences now start curating policies. And stage 5, that's where you achieve like, you know, total empowerment.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've seen like in our communities, like, you know, there's incremental development. So access to basic needs like electricity, water. The more we have that with the women, we continue to sort of like ease the burden of either care or the work that they need to do. And then they're able to sort of like, you know, invest their time in becoming much more productive and learn. So in the recent years, I see like, you know, there's continuous progress and we see women rising.
That's so powerful.
As a Tanzanian, we have a first female president.
Yes, you do.
Madam Samia Suluhu Hassan. She's from a minor, like a community, a minority community. She's a Muslim woman from the island, but there she is. So I think that is also really, really changing the trajectory. Our daughters are coming to life and seeing a female leader who is transforming our nation. So it
gives them also permission to be.
It gives people permission to be.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then do you want to share anything else about your leadership journey?
Yeah. Oh, my leadership journey. It has been a journey and I think my personal experience when it comes to leadership journey, I would like to start with a quote, which is so inspiring. They say, if service is beneath you, then leadership is above you.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if service is beneath you,
leadership is
and you know,
above you.
everything that I'm reading and studying now is just pointing to the fact that leadership is service.
Yeah. Leadership is service. So before, when I was thinking about leadership, for me, it was like, you know, the ranks and the titles and things like that, which are also very nice. We need women in like, you know, high position and ranks. It makes something. But for me, I think my leadership journey is like just having a chance to serve. I've been serving in the sector through my work. I've been serving my community by starting like, you know, small little communities where people convene. In Arusha, I have a network of over 400 women.
That's so well done. Well done.
Yeah, we sit together, we learn together, we have this conversation in a way that no woman feels alone. But all that is service. So that has been my journey. And I think something which I can take away, it is a process. You continue to connect dots. But also in the leadership journey, at every step you get, sometimes you find like, you know, the needs continue to change.
Yes.
So I think my biggest moment was PLF last year.
Thank you so much.
I was really struggling with the work because I would say honestly, the more experienced you are most of the time in the sectors, there's an opportunity to let pride and ego come in. Because now I know. What can you tell me?
Yeah. And
now
I have the experience.
What can you tell me? And I have the experience. So sometimes when you climb into the leadership and you have the power and the privilege, instead of service, there's that element of ego. I know it all. And entitlement. Yeah. So that was slowly creeping in. And then PLF
Thank you for being authentic.
Wow. Yes. And then PLF happened.
Wow.
Where I learned about obedience. Where I learned about respecting leadership. You don't have to respect a certain type of leadership or people in authority. You have to respect all. I started to pray for the sector. Before PLF, I didn't know that I need to pray. I prayed for everything. I did not know that I needed to pray for my workplace.
And for your workplace.
I needed to pray for the leadership.
Powerful.
Yeah, I remember when I was doing PLF, you know, we were these people in the social sector, because most of the time we want policy change. Yes. So what we really see is things which are not happening. So every day we would have an opinion on the leadership of the day, on the government of the day. But I remember session 3 of PLF, we were reminded, like, if you're not praying for your nation, then who should do it?
Who should do it?
If it's not you, then who?
Then who?
Like the things that you're saying, as we're saying, like, you know, the tongue has power to create.
Yeah.
I started checking myself and reflecting, look, what are the things I've been saying about my country? What are the things, you know, there are these common things.
So
this
powerful.
Is Tanzanian, or this is Kenyan, like, you know, and then you slot in some things and you're like, what generation are you creating? And I was like, it does not need many of us, but it needs like one person to take the right
That
action.
is so true.
Yeah. So
Because chapter 3 is about purpose in the marketplace.
Yeah, purpose in the marketplace. And then purpose, I think, in the national agenda. That is, the 3. So I think for me, that was a really, really, really turning point. And fun story is after PLF, actually in between the PLF journey, that's where I got my first appointment with advisory job with the government.
You see, because you started praying. You started praying, you changed your attitude, you changed your culture. God has prepared you to a new way. Now he can trust you. Because if you had gone without that knowledge, you'd have gone there complaining, causing, not having the right attitude. So it's not going to work. So I love that. So in between that, you get the opportunity to now sit and advise on those same policies that you want changed.
Absolutely. And if it wasn't for PLF, I think that's when I would take a picture of the appointment and share with everyone, because everybody has to know that you've gotten there. God. But I remember because of that foundation, the first thing I got that later, I went to a small space where I used to go and pray. It's just a room, a quiet room. And then I was like, God, so why me? Why is this calling? What am I supposed to do here?
Amen.
I'm like, this is a big responsibility.
Because you always have to ask the why.
Yes. What is your why? And in this one, I'm submitting myself to you. So I think in a nutshell, it means that even with leadership, is constantly seeking for right spaces and people to help you build character, which can make you sustain the opportunities that we get.
That is so powerful, Carolyn. Yeah. Honestly, that needs to be put on a t-shirt and quoted. What? Leadership that grows character, that then is able to sustain.
Yeah, because it's all about your character and your attitude. With the wrong character and attitude, you can have so many opportunities, but what do you do with the opportunities? With the right character and mindset is like, even you'll be humble.
It's very powerful, Caroline.
You'll be humble and you'll take everything as it's a calling, because everything you're doing it's like you're doing it for the Lord and not you're doing it for your own fame and your own success. The Bible actually
says everything you do it as if you're doing it for the Lord.
Yeah, so I'd say I think for me that was like, it's very important to have that firm foundation when you're building your leadership journey.
Wow.
Where does your decision making come from? Where does receiving all these opportunities come from? Where does the decisions you're making with all the privileges and opportunities you have come from? Does it come from God, or does it come from your pride and ego?
And they'll have different results.
Definitely.
Wow, Carolyn, that's really amazing. Now my mind is everywhere. It's racing everywhere. It's thinking everywhere. My goodness. What else would you like to share with us today? And that's very powerful what you have shared so far.
Yeah, so something which I would like to share today, given this opportunity, is really, again, just really giving much more, iterating the fact that as a leader, as a Christian leader in the marketplace, it is very, very, very important to make sure you have a very firm foundation. I feel like PLF is a platform which provides opportunity for people to grow. And with God, my mom used to say, when you're doing everything is 0, 0, 0. But when you have God, as you're doing everything, is you add a 0. So you have a job is a 0. You have a big position is a 0. You have this appointment is another 0. So it's from 10 to 100 to 1,000.
You're adding zeros to your increase in your capacity and your ability.
Yes. So I think one thing is for Christians in the marketplace to really, really, really find a way to farm their foundation, to build it on the road, because like there's so much temptation, there's so much confusion. So without having clarity on what is the foundation of your values, then it becomes really, really hard for you to be able to fulfill your purpose. Because you might be succeeding. You know, there's that story. You want to have a house, and then you build this house and you're very happy, only to realize that God had a plan to give you an estate.
Imagine.
And then you're very comfortable.
Focused on this house.
And actually sometimes you're very comfortable. Sometimes you get really, really comfortable. So I think for me, it's like, just lay a foundation on God to help you so that you make the right decisions and utilize the spaces well for the betterment of everyone. Something which also statement which really, really catches me when we are doing PLF lessons is that all these things is not about you. It's about God.
It's about God, and it's about others.
And it's about
and God
others.
is always bigger picture, and He's thinking about others.
Yes.
I'm so grateful that the women must be very happy to see you. I think they're happy to have a woman like you in terms of community work. And I love the words that you use, because it's social, it's economic, it's community, there's justice, there's governance, there's gender, there's policy. There's so much that's happening. It's a whole ecosystem of things that are, all these things are working towards giving people a better life. Yeah. And I think even when you go out there as a leader, because you said you'd been born in the city and you'd had everything, when you go and actually see how people lack, that's something else that really humbles you, I think, for me, and really causes you to give God glory, because you didn't have to go through those situations, but then to make them just better for them. So I'm really grateful for the work that you're doing there. I know you even had a season of PLF Arusha, and we'll see how we'll continue it. I also want to come to Arusha. I want to come to Arusha and speak and pray and share with these women that you have mobilized, and just empower people and just learn from each other and share and give each other wisdom and share from our stories. I love listening to women's stories. Like, I love your story. Your story is amazing, you know. Even the 20 minutes doesn't do it justice, but it's an amazing story. And then that you came, I'll always be grateful that you came. That, you know, I was like, okay, what do we do now? I want to speak to Caroline. I wanted to come on Just Angie, and you said you would come, and that's good. And I think it's also going to open doors for other people to come in from other nations and even other counties in this nation, and just come and let's share our stories and let's empower each other and inspire each other, because for me, you're an inspiration. So I'm really grateful that you inspire me.
Yeah, I'm grateful to also be here. I think, as you said, purpose is not about you, it's about others. And what we need is to continue to share it forward. And Arusha waits. Most of the women are really, really waiting to learn on how to do business kingdom way. I think that is one of the biggest topic, because you see there's like, you know, a much more, Arusha is a hustler city, I would say.
Oh, really?
It's a business driven city. It's a beautiful one. So there's so much to do and to see. And I think you made a very good point that if you really, really want to serve the communities, you need to spend time to understand them and to know them. Don't do these things through theory or Googling. Go, live, learn, and then you'll be able to sort of like, you know, curate or create things which are really, really making sense to the communities, and you'll grow yourself. There's a lot that communities have to offer. Yeah, I think you do, because you understand, like now you're saying they have a problem, but they're already trying to solve it with the little that they have. So that already tells you, with the much that you have, become a solution provider. Provide solutions. Don't just wait for things to be solved by someone else, you know. And something else you said, if not you, who then? You. It's you. Do it. Mobilize. And then I think it's also a challenge for me, for us to go back to our communities. Everyone in Africa has a community. They have a village, they have people that they know. Go back to the community, even going back to your school, going back to somewhere that you had an experience, that you can go back and mobilize people around development, some sort of socio-economic development that they can do, and just improve their lives. Because when you do, then they're able to attain so much. And I also wanted to give a big shout out to Danny Kiondo. Thank you so much for doing PLF Tanzania. I don't even know. I don't know. He took the vision and he ran with the vision. I don't know what goes on, what happens. He tells me this is what's happening, this class here, but he runs everything there with other PLFers. And for me, that's also a dream come true, or a vision. And I want to say that because when the Lord told me now to start PLF in other countries, I was like, so what do we do? You know, do we go and roll out a blueprint? But we do what you're doing in community. I'm not a Tanzanian. I may have this leadership program, but I'm not a Tanzanian. So here is the program. So took them through first two, I think, seasons, and then you guys run with it, because you know how you're going to share it, you know who's going to come and speak about it, you know the problems that are happening, you know the culture of Tanzania. So I wouldn't be able to know that. So I'm going to come in as an outsider and give examples that are not making sense. So you guys do it, and they're running it. And imagine when season 18, you know. And so Danny Kiondo, thank you, because I would not even have met Carolyn if it wasn't for you. So thank you for the work that you're doing in Tanzania. Yeah, he's a blessing to us. I think the lives which are being transformed, it's a lot. Even for the short time that I've known, people close to me, friends, they ask me, how are you doing this? And then I'll be like, you guys just do PLF. It's like, how did you feel? Like, how are you handling this? Like, why are you not shocked? Why are you not panicking? I'm like, I don't know how to explain it. This can only be God. You do PLF. So some of them, you send them, they almost block you, but some of them are like, okay, it's enough, I went. And then they go into session 1, and then it's a text message. I've been transformed. This is what I really, really needed. So thank you for being obedient and taking that call to start this. And everyone else who is involved into sort of like, paying it forward and carrying the torch. I'm a PLF evangelist in Tanzania. I keep on inviting people, and we're very happy to see that more opportunities of people getting transformed, because we need this. Our leadership has to change.
They need it.
And if we don't have God-fearing people into the government, into the marketplace, and character is not built, then most of these things which we wish to see happening in Africa, in our country, can't happen. So we are truly grateful and blessed.
Thank you. And PLF stands for the Purpose and Leadership Forum. You can Google, you can search. But what I love also about PLF, people say, why don't you advertise? Why don't you do this? And I'm like, no, it's like a secret. When you find it, find it. And also, I was taught in marketing, I'm a marketer in heart, that word of mouth is the best form of advertising. So I love that people talk about it, and then people come, or people see a transformed life. They're like, okay, point me in what happened to you? Okay, let's go. What happened? Let's go. And they come, so that you don't force people to do it. You don't, because it's unexplainable.
You can't.
That's the other word. You can't explain, but you can see the results.
Yes.
The thing is, the fruit is evident. I may not be able to explain to you what this is.
But a person will see change in you, and they'll ask, how did you do it? Like, that's how I experienced it. Like, Carol, how are you come in this? We know you. This would have been fire. This would have been this. Like, what happened? Then I'll be like, PLF happened. So join it. So I think PLF for me has been like, a monumental moment in my life. I've seen so much happen in such a short time, and I'm grateful for that gift. Because again, it's a divine gift.
It is.
Who am I to receive it? And I think in my season, the word like, we're a chosen generation and the royal priesthood. And so I feel like I'm a chosen and a special select. But now my ask is, God help me as a chosen one to really continue to serve your purpose as long as I'm alive.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Thank you so much, Caroline.
Thank you so
for
much,
coming
Angie.
today on to Just Angie. And Arusha, we are coming. We must come. I must come to Arusha, and let's see what we can do and how we can empower and encourage each other.
Yeah, thank you so much. Now I have an exhibit, because I'll be sharing this and telling people, Angie said Arusha.
Yeah. And I think we're also going to get a different audience as well.
Absolutely.
From Arusha. So we're grateful for that as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
Thank you very, very much. God bless you guys. I hope you're inspired and encouraged. I am.